The protagonist is Sung Jinwoo, a very weak E-rank hunter. Jinwoo hunts monsters in low-rank gates to pay his mother's medical bills. At that moment, a window with a mysterious power appears in front of him. Jinwoo is selected as the player of a program called System and gains the unique ability to grow in strength without restriction. The third season of Classroom of the Elite will premiere in January 2024. The season will air in Japan and on Crunchyroll. The story follows Kiyotaka Ayanokuji, a Class D student at Tokyo Kudo Akusei Academy. The school claims that 100% of its students go on to college or find a good job. However, Ayanokuji ends up in Class 1D, where the school puts all students with problems. In Class D, Ayanokuji meets Susan Horikita, who believes she was placed in the same class by mistake and wishes to move up to Class A. Makoto Masumi is an ordinary high school student who is transported to a mysterious new world. Without warning, he discovers that his summons was the work of the god Tsukuyami himself, who reveals the astonishing origin of his parents, inhabitants of a parallel world who, in order to remain in Japan, sealed a pact with the gods. The second season of Mashal, Magic and Muscles will premiere in 2024. The series follows Mash Burndead, a young boy who lives in the woods with his adoptive father Regro. Mash has no magical powers, but spends his days training to gain muscle. In a world dominated by magic, Mash is considered a threat to the gene pool and must be eliminated to protect his life and that of his father. Mash enrolls in Easton Academy, a school of magic. There, he sets out to become a divine visionary, the elite of the elite. Mash is the only known case of a person with no present lines, making him unable to use magic. To compensate for his lack of magic, Mash uses his monstrous strength. Two supernatural forces appeared simultaneously on Earth, the entrances to another dimension known as Mado, and Peaches, resources that grant unique abilities to women. From the Mado come Yamatsu Shuki, dangerous monsters that leave destruction in their wake. The story is about Tomozaki Fumiya, a skilled gamer who does not fit in socially. He believes he is at the garbage level and will not be able to compete with the rest of the humans. His only pride is his position as Nanisher, the #1 player in all of Japan in the Adafami video game. Tomozaki is surprised to discover that Aoi Hinami, a popular, intelligent and sociable classmate, is a high-level TACFAM player. Kyotaro Ichikawa is a lonely student who fantasizes about taking revenge on his classmates. Fascinated by horror and the macabre, Kyotaro fantasizes about acting on his twisted thoughts to the detriment of his classmates. Through their daily interactions, the relationship between Ichikawa and Yamada is transforming. Ichikawa might realize that his macabre desires have become something completely different. The story follows a group of adventurers led by Laos. The group is attacked by a dragon in a dungeon, which causes them to lose all their money and supplies, and one member of the group, the adventurers, want to go back to save their friend, but without food and money they will starve to death on the way. Laos has an idea: let's eat the monsters. The adventurers eat slugs, basilisks and dragons. A monster cooking enthusiast helps them prepare the monster ingredients to make them safe to eat. Senshi joins Laos Guild and expresses his desire to cook a dragon. Rin Okumura, a 15-year-old teenager who discovers he is the son of Satan. Rin and his twin brother, Yukio, were raised by an exorcist in a church. When Satan devives his adoptive father, Rin decides to enter a school of exorcists to defeat his biological father. A former hero who was expelled from his group of adventurers, he now lives on the frontier with his sister Rudy and his lifelong love, Princess Red. Red opens an apothecary shop on the frontier in the hope of living a quiet life. However, it will not be easy for him to keep his secret of having belonged to the hero's group. The story focuses on Yuki Aitos, a hearing-impaired college student. Yuki lives in the same place since she was born and barely interacts with others except for her best friend, Rin Fujishiro. One day, Yuki meets Itsuomi Nagi, a fellow student and Rin's friend. Itsuomi is a senior student who is not discouraged by Yuki's hearing aid and interacts with her naturally. Yuki asks for her phone number and they begin to get to know each other better. Itsuomi, who speaks several languages but does not know sign language, begins to learn so she can communicate with Yuki. Is an anime about a high school student named Tsubasa who moves from Tokyo to the city of Kinami, in Hokkaido, in the middle of winter. At a bus stop, he meets a gal who wears a short skirt despite the cold. Tsubasa falls in love with her. Earth is threatened by a fleet of alien invaders. Ataru is selected to represent humanity in a duel against one of the invaders. Ataru must touch the horns of Princess Lum, the daughter of the chief of the Oni. Lum can fly, which will make Ataru's task difficult. Yori is a mature but pure girl in love. Himari is a high school freshman who falls in love with Yori after hearing her play in the high school band. Himari confesses her love to Yori, who misinterprets her feelings as romantic. Yuri agrees to spend time with Himari to see if he can come to feel the same way she does. However, Yuri realizes that what Himari loved was not her, but her music. The main character is Hana Asakura, the son of Yo Asakura and Anna Kaoyama. Hana is bored with his everyday life and wants some excitement. However, fights come to his door, and not from where he expected. Asakura Luka and Asakura Yohane, members of Hana's family, challenge him and evade him and his father Yo to take their place as the main house. In a world ravaged by war and unbridled ambition, young slave Xian dreams of a future where the skies are unmarred by the din of battle. However, his destiny takes an unexpected turn when he encounters Ing Sheng, a boy who will later become King Sheng of Qin. Inspired by the young monarch's bold vision to unify China under one banner, Xian embarks on an epic journey to greatness. Yogairai Takatu wakes up in the middle of absolute chaos during a school field trip. He discovers that everyone in his class has been transported to another world. A mysterious sage appeared and granted powers to the others, but somehow he had managed to sleep through the whole ordeal, missing the gift. Yet Yogairai has a secret power to summon instant annihilation with a single thought. Finn Oldman, an orphan living on the street, discovers that his orphanage is about to close due to financial problems. Finn decides to go to a casino to win quick money. At the casino, Finn is involved in a chase and a shootout. Finn discovers the existence of 52 special cards that grant special abilities to those who possess them. Sato is a high school student who is in love with his best friend, Haim, who is a supernatural beauty from another realm. When Haim returns to her home world to get married, Sato follows her and breaks into the wedding. After Haim kisses him, Sato becomes the new groom. There he marries Haim and becomes the legendary hero, the King of the Ring. The story revolves around a couple searching for and confronting evil witches who deceive the population. Hido, a wild girl with sharp fangs and feline eyes. Ashoff, a soft-spoken man with delicate features, a coffin strapped to his back and an entourage of black crows. The couple appears in a village enslaved by a witch who has convinced the inhabitants that he is their hero. The couple lives by the creed that wherever a witch goes, only curses and disasters follow. They do not hesitate to eliminate anyone who stands in their way. The story centers on Ken Sato, an ordinary high school student with average grades and dreams. Ken does not like extraordinary people, but he befriends the president and vice president of the student council, who are popular and extraordinary. One rainy day, Ken meets two classmates after school and the three are transported to a fantasy world. Ken is swept away by accident, with no apparent talent. Ken resigns himself to live in oblivion in this new world. However, someone discovers that Ken has an incredible power of healing magic. The story takes place in a world where humans and androids coexist. The main character is Rouge, an android girl who is 10 years old but looks 17. Rouge can transform into the red battle form Metal Rouge. As a doctor, Aoi Takamoto atones for the sins of a past life as the evil Princess Elise and dedicates her life to saving people. But a fatal accident interrupts her atonement and she suddenly returns to her former life 10 years before her death. Umiela Dolkness is a typical Otome video game villain, except for the fact that she is also a powerful boss. But Yumiela wasn't always Yumiela in her past life. She was nothing more than an introverted college student and a devoted gamer. So when she realizes that she has been reincarnated as a hidden boss, she is determined to stay away from the protagonists and avoid her demise at their hands. All she wants is a quiet life. Too bad that when her gamer instincts kick in, Yumiela can't ignore her incredible stats. The story revolves around Ivy, a girl who is reborn in an RPG world as the weakest class. Ivy can remember fragments of her past life, so she strives to avoid conflict. However, her unique ability is taming, and in her world most people don't give their time to the weak. Akitsu Midori, a 27-year-old Japanese salarywoman, dies from overwork. She is reincarnated in a fantasy world as Nima, the youngest daughter of a noble family. God blesses her with the ability to be loved by non-human beings. The story is about Rent Fina, a 25-year-old adventurer who has been fighting monsters for a decade. However, his lack of talent leads him to hunt slimes and goblins for a small amount of money. One day, Rent is devoured by a legendary dragon, but is resurrected as an undead. He sets out to achieve existential evolution and reunite with the land of the living. The story is about a demon named Masatora Akutsu who recruits allies for hell in a human high school. Akutsu meets Lilia Main and invites her to go with him, but discovers she is an angel. Akutsu will have to do whatever it takes to turn her into a fallen angel. An alien from an evil organization from another planet takes a day off. The alien, called the General, fights every day against the defenders of Earth. The alien, Warmono-san, is on a mission mission to invade Earth and wipe out humanity, but even the leaders of evil organizations cannot resist the simple pleasures of life on Earth. Aladdin Tomobishi, a young man who becomes embroiled in a battle to see who is the strongest after being reunited with his former best friend, Monokara Shimane. The story centers on Nishiko Japensha, a high school student who has been kicked out of her home. Without a place to meet her friends, Nishiko decides to move into her father's old mahjong room, which is now empty. Nishiko fixes up the room and turns it into a place where she and her friends can have fun, cook, drink tea, and sometimes play mahjong. The story is about Riche, the daughter of a duke, who is trapped in a time loop. In each life she has had all sorts of adventures, from fighting gods to wielding swords. In her 7th life, Riche wants to live a long and peaceful life. However, the prince who spurned her in one of her previous lives proposes marriage. The princess and knight commander of the Third Order of the King's Army has been taken prisoner by the Demon King's army. Soon, the princess is subjected to a series of oblique tortures. The story takes place in a world devastated by humanity's last war. A great forest infested with flaming creatures and other fallen beasts covers the world. Human civilization collapsed until they discovered an alternative fuel source derived from the blood of fire demons. The world is divided into two factions, the humans and the monsters called Katawara. Despite being a monster, Tama loves humans and wants to protect them from evil, even if it means fighting against his own kind. The series takes place in the year 2242. Kanata meets Noir, a wizard who has lost his memory. Kanata wants to become a drifter and partners with Noir to learn how to do it. The story follows Adachi Kiyoshi, a 30-year-old office employee who is a virgin. Adachi develops the power to read people's minds by touching them. He accidentally touches Kurosawa Yuichi, the company's most handsome employee, and discovers that he is in love with him. The comic and somewhat surreal anime narrates the day-to-day life of a group of high school girls and the mysterious creatures found in the streets and other corners of Kashiwa, whose places are portrayed in the backgrounds through real photographs of the city. In Shofutsu Kin Chiba Densetsu, the plot expands to the entire Chiba prefecture, east of Tokyo. Rudd, a member of the heroes group of adventurers. Rudd is a tank with the highest defense in history. The group often raids mazes, but for Rudd, this means more than just an adventure. Rudd is looking for a wish-granting treasure that might be hidden in the mazes. His goal is to cure his sister's illness. After a failed mission, Rudd is expelled from the group. With nowhere to go and nothing to do, he decides to return to his hometown, where his sister is waiting for him. On his way back, Rudd saves a girl who is being attacked by a monster. The girl possesses a rare ability called valuation. Thanks to her ability, Rudd is able to discover the truth behind her unknown abilities, which turn out to be very powerful abilities. The story takes place in the metropolis of Most City. An editor-in-chief named Taro, his young assistant Jiro, and his dog Saburo run a modest publishing house. They publish the magazine Monly Mosu, which explores the strangest paranormal phenomena in the city. An eccentric scientist named Goro bursts into the editorial office, creates an incomprehensible incident beyond the limits of science, envelopes everyone in a supernatural mystery. Sendu Aichi is a shy boy who goes to high school. Since he was little, he has had the card Blaster Blade, one of the rarest and most important cards in the game Vanguard. When he meets the person who gave him the card, his world will change forever. Hiragi Yutina is a high school girl who loves magical girls. She has always fantasized about being a heroine who fights evil. One afternoon, a doll-like figure tells her that she has latent magical power. Yutina is tricked into joining an evil organization. She discovers that her passion for magical girls has a twisted side. She transforms into a villain, and the group of magical girls declare war on her.